secret mission was to fund, train and arm the Mujahideen, a band of Islamic Afghani fighters. They were at war with the Soviet-backed People's Democratic Party of Afghanistan. The CIA was told to crush the Soviet fighting force by any means possible, and it did just that by working closely with the Mujahideen.
They were good lads. Everybody thought they were, you know, good hardened fighters.
Andy McNabb was employed by the CIA in the early 1980s to train the Mujahideen.
We taught them how to make improvised explosive devices, the timer units, how to take down helicopters, telecommunications, power lines. We were teaching them not only the conventional stuff, how to use ground-to-air missiles, but actually how to make improvised explosives and how to make explosives.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
Money talks all over the world. It talks even louder in some of the countries that the CIA have to go and operate in. And they do carry around large bags of large denomination dollar bills. You can't get the exact total of money the Americans spent to help the Mujahideen defeat the Soviets, but it's around the $3 billion mark.
I was in the most realistic sense, the 19th century British political agent and quartermaster. And so I delivered 60,000 tons of ordnance. I spent a lot of money every month unilaterally providing it to Afghan commanders throughout Afghanistan. I could get on a secure radio link and say, Joel, get your stuff. And they would come back and say, got our stuff.
Milt Bearden might have thought funding and arming the Mujahideen was a good idea, but many of his fellow CIA officers didn't agree.
I myself had a conversation with Milt Bearden, who was the CIA operative who was controlling this operation, and I said, Bearden, what are you doing? You're giving this weaponry to the most fundamentalist people of them all. This is not going to work for U.S. strategic interests over the long term. And I thought Bearden's reaction was interesting. He said to me, look, we just pass them the weapons, and we let God sort it out. Well, God sorted it out, and we're still dealing with that problem now.
Let me tell you, we never gave a single penny to a single Arab group. They themselves were bringing in up to $20–25 million a month that was being brought in from the Gulf to go into the war. That's their issue. We were there with our goals. But this has been a story that has always been too good to check for most journalists. CIA did not fund Osama bin Laden. CIA did not create the Taliban. The U.S. didn't do that, and it consciously didn't do it. It didn't do it as a matter of policy. And I always like to dismiss those critics as saying, I was there, you weren't, I know it, you don't, trump that.
They didn't fully understand that what the Mujahideen were thinking, not the Afghans, but more the Arabs and the international jihadists, what they were thinking is, thanks very much. When we've dealt with this lot, we'll deal with you. This is the blowback bit of American foreign policy. They armed, funded, and to an extent trained some of the Arabs, not realizing that they would come after the Americans once they'd finished with the Soviets.
Once the Mujahideen won its war against the Soviets, the CIA upped sticks and left Afghanistan. The CIA men had accomplished their covert mission, and they didn't care what happened to Afghanistan after they left.
When the Soviets finally withdrew, the Americans effectively withdrew their interest in Afghanistan. They ceased to be concerned about what happened to it. And far from continuing to intervene, they effectively left the field open for the Taliban to come in with the consequences that we understand.
The agency's role in Afghanistan can be looked at in two ways, it seems to me. In a short-term perspective, sure, the agency drove the Russians out. But over the long term, well, you know, it's big trouble with the Islamists. There are 1.3 billion of them now, and they're all very mightily upset with us.